Hello, everyone. Welcome back from the break. I'm Ria Serna, and I am your New Mexico Main Street Revitalization Specialist in the area of property redevelopment. And today we're going to have this exciting storytelling session. And it's my pleasure to introduce our moderator of the session, Melanie Lenci. Melanie is a consultant with Hatchform. She has helped launch a tech accelerator for socially conscious founders and presented on how to engage, excite, and shape your entrepreneur story as part of Gallup Main Street's Entrepreneur Boot Camp. She's also delivered What's Your Story, an interactive workshop to guide entrepreneurs in shaping and sharing their story on social media. Melanie is also a co-founder of Kick-Ass Entrepreneurs Storytime Events, a program that brings community together with monthly events around the sharing of local entrepreneurial stories. So take it away, Melanie.
Yay, thank you. And just to correct there, I don't know if I typed it wrong. I'm the founder of Kick-Ass Entrepreneurs. No co-founders with that one. But here I'm with Hatchform. Thank you, Sean. Sean knows how out of my gourd I can be at times, but now you'll all just get a little introduction to this. So there's Sean and I, and we're just going to move right on in here to our first storyteller, which we have. And I get to thank, this was Sean's idea to bring Power and Light Press from Silver City. And thank you, Charmaine, for making the connection for us. So Kyle's going to tell us a little bit about this fabulous business. Before, I just want to throw a couple of little tidbits out about this, is that I think that you reopened soon, which I'm thrilled to hear about at your physical location. I just want to tell you that after going to your site, I became a huge fan. I was doing a workshop on showing entrepreneurs great about pages, and yours became an example of that. I could tell you that with your one line, all female letterpress printers with clean hands and filthy mouths, you had me right there. So take it away, Kyle.
All right. Can you hear me okay? I've got my little headset on. Is that working?
Sound beautiful.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to share a little bit about our story from this past year, and then hear from other business owners about how we've all navigated this bizarre world we're living in now. My name is Kyle Durrie, and I am the proprietor of Power and Light Press, which is a letterpress print shop in Silver City. Letterpress is an old traditional form of printing. So the presses that we use here are 100 years old. The newest one is probably 70 years old. So they're really beautiful antique machines. You can kind of see one over my shoulder here, with the big cast iron flywheel. That's one of the little guys. All the big presses are kind of in the back, way behind me. And they're really beautiful machines that I fell in love with when I first took my first class about 15 years ago, and have been collecting ever since. So I started the business in 2009 in Portland, Oregon, and I moved myself and the business down to Silver City in 2012. And that move was driven by a lot of different reasons. One was just trying to figure out how I could really grow the business in a city that was starting to feel like I was getting priced out of it. Portland was a wonderful place to live and start a creative business, but I didn't really see opportunities to grow with rising overhead costs and things like that. I have family roots in New Mexico, and so my partner and I started looking around down here, stumbled across Silver City, and just fell in love with it and moved here a little over 8 years ago. So I love being here. The business has grown a lot since I first moved. It was a one-woman shop for the first probably 5 years that I was in business, and then I started hiring, training people how to run the presses. Eventually opened a retail store here, and before COVID hit, we had I had a crew of 6 women who worked here, 4 of whom were trained to run these presses, and then 2 who helped with keeping the storefront open. So, of course, this week, last year, all of our worlds changed, and unfortunately, we had to, close the shop, of course, and I had to lay off my staff and haven't been able to rehire them. The business is still afloat, and that feels like a really tragic kind of side effect of staying afloat is just having to cut just about every expense I could imagine. But it's allowed me to still be here and still have the presses running and still be able to fulfill orders. Fortunately, all of my staff was able to collect unemployment pretty quickly. I was looking at some old emails yesterday, and it looked like by March 24th or so, everyone was set up and collecting those payments, which was just a lifesaver for so many this past year. But so we had to close the storefront right away. We also had an absolutely immediate impact on our manufacturing. So the business is primarily, or it used to be primarily, wholesale. So we print greeting cards, paper goods, and we sell them to stores, other small businesses around the country. Of course, every store by mid-March was closed. So overnight, we just had no demand. A trickle of online orders came in, but it was really clear almost immediately that the manufacturing side of the business was just going to be on pause for who knew, none of us knew how long it would be. That's starting to come back little by little, but, we used to have two or three presses running almost all day, every day, cranking out stuff. I print once a week now, and that's enough to keep up with demand. And it's not all bad and sad. It sounds terrible. A little bit later, I can talk about some silver linings that I've definitely kind of found this year, but it's just a totally different business than it was a year ago. We had a pretty good website already, which was really what got me through this year. But the website before, about a year ago, only carried power and light products. So only the products that we design and print here in-house, that's what we sold on the website. So when we closed the store last year, I spent kind of that first month in April listing all of the products that we sell in the store, because we carry, gift items made by other independent businesses and makers. So I got all that stuff online, and that really kept me afloat through the summer. It was still pretty slow, but orders would come in and I could ship those out a couple times a week. And then the fall was really busy with online orders. People were really shopping hard for holidays and birthdays, whatever was happening. People really seemed to double down on shopping small online, which I'm forever grateful for. I did reopen the retail store last fall and was able to open for about 2 months and then shut down again in November with the governor's orders. And then I just kind of stayed closed in January. It's pretty slow time anyway, and the case count here was so bad. It just felt like, it just didn't feel like it was worth it to open the doors to the public. But as of about 2 weeks ago, I've reopened, limited hours, but it's really nice to be able to see people again and start breathing a little bit of life back into this business and just downtown in general. It really starting to feel like things are coming back to life a little bit, and I'm just hoping that we can kind of do that safely, but keep at it, because it's really, it's been a long year.
Yeah, absolutely. So for sure, one of the questions I have is definitely I would love to hear you address a couple of those silver linings. And then also, if you can say how we or your community can help you out, what could you use help with?
Yeah. So we had a really interesting thing that's just happened in this past week. We had one key account, a chain of paper stores that as of last week declared bankruptcy. And so everyone in my world, in the stationery world, is just kind of losing our minds. Like, what does this mean? This was a retailer that had over 150 locations. And so when they placed an order, it was a big deal. So that has been a little bit panic inducing, but what has really reinforced is my commitment and my peers and customers and retailers' commitment to shopping small. And that's something that I think everyone who's on this panel here believes in our Main Street districts and our local businesses. And I think that is, I just believe, I've always believed that, but I believe it now more than ever. What felt like kind of a golden calf of this, behemoth retailer that was going to pay all our bills. It's fickle. And I'm newly invested in supporting my fellow small businesses locally and around the country. And I think that, folks buying directly from their favorite local businesses, restaurants, whatever, choosing to spend your money with your local vendors is really, it goes farther than you can imagine. So that's been a big takeaway from this past year, and particularly this past week.
Perfect. Well, and one thing I did, so it popped in your name, your business, your city, with all your links to your website and your social media in the chat, so that anyone can go in there. And I'll do the same for the other business owners coming up, so we can all go and support you, write reviews if you experience products.
Thanks, I appreciate it. So, come visit if you're in Silver City too.
Yay. Okay. Do you have to go back to start opening, or can you hang
I open at noon, so I'm going to hang out. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So yay, you'll get to hear.
Also, just want to shout out Charmaine Waite, our local Main Street director. She's been amazing, and has just been just sharing resources all year long and doing everything she can to help us all make it through. So we just appreciate her so much. I know you guys probably love her also.
Yeah, I think she has a lot of fans here at New Mexico Main Street for sure. Yeah. I'm the newest of fans. So yay, thanks, Charmaine. Okay, if anyone else has any other questions too, you can pop it in the chat box and we'll pop back on. But what I'm going to do is we're going to bring on our second storyteller here, Andres, Drylands Brewing Company. You hear? There he is. Okay, and so here now we're coming to you from Lovington. And so again, this was Sean O'Shea, Hatchform's idea that reach out. And Mara, thanks so much for making the connection down there. So Andres, I'm really excited to hear about this. I know you've gone through times of pauses, but mostly patio open. I think now you're open indoor and outdoor. And Saturday, I just saw you had burgers going on. So starting to add food back in. So tell us a little bit about it.
So Daniel couldn't make it, my business owner, or the business partner that I have. Drylands started just as an idea. Took it to Mata. Mata kind of approached us about it, and that's how it started. Will Powell, got to give him a shout out. He helped us a little bit with the designing. He helped with the patio designing not too long ago. So before COVID, we were rocking and rolling. We had opened up a second location in Hobbs. We were starting to, fatten up our bank account a little bit, and then COVID hit, and so everything just kind of shut down. Restaurants really struggled here in New Mexico. Quite a bit. So the only thing that we were able to do is kind of modify our menu. We had to open up a drive-through window, so that helped out a little bit. That we originally had in place, but we didn't have the room to open it up. So we had to move the kitchen around a little bit, open it up, and we just started playing around with our menu. Our menu had changed. One week we had pizza specials. Another time we'd bring, handhelds, and so it's been a struggle, but it's a learning kind of situation for us too. The good thing about being shut down is it forced us to open up a really nice patio. And so far, I mean, this patio's been a hit in this area.
Did you not have the patio before?
We had a little patio, just a little concrete slab, but this project cost us a lot of money, so we didn't cover it until until we had to. So we were trying to save a little bit of money to when we first started, and we were eventually going to build a patio, but we came up with some designs. We gave Will our ideas, and he came up with something for us, and he helped us out a lot. And then we just Mata, helped us out with the grant, the patio grant, and we put in the rest of the money, and we made it happen.
That's excellent. Okay, I also had noticed that you were using, you started online ordering through Toast. Were you
Right.
were you using that before, or that was a new?
We were looking at different POS options. We had outgrown our original Clover POS. So as soon as COVID hit and we had to go directly just online and pick up, we paid for the additional service through Toast, and so it helped. It's still helping us out quite a bit.
Excellent. Do you do delivery or no? Did you?
No, not yet. No.
Okay. Did you? Is it more of a capacity reason, or what? Logistic? Why'd you help?
The online ordering, I mean, it's so easy. We have our menu that's just uploaded. It shoots it straight to the kitchen, and you can come in and pick it up, grab a growler beer, or you can go through our drive-through.
Got you. Okay. Is the Hobbs location open?
Yes, it is. Now it is. Yeah. And the Hobbs location originally, we decided to lease it because of the patio. The Hobbs location is just, 90% of it is patio. Mata can, she's been there before. She likes the patio setting. But it's really small on the inside. So Hobbs really didn't slow down as much as Lovington did, because we did have the employees and workforce that we needed here in Lovington, which we did have to lay off a few people just because of that. And that's one of the reasons we minimized our menu a little bit more. So we're starting to incorporate our full menu back into our normal business hours.
Okay, starting to get back to normal business hours. And so what would you say? What are opportunities possibly presented themselves during this time?
The patio and the online ordering. We still get a lot of the revenue from our online ordering, and this patio is just a cool place to hang out. So it's bringing people from out of town too. We get a lot of people from Hobbs, Tatum, Eunice, even from Denver City, from Texas.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you drive? Are you going back and forth between the businesses often? And
as far as trying to manage them, yeah. Hobbs is really easy to take care of. It's just a tap room, so we just do beer. As long as the beer's stocked over there, then we do good. Restaurant business is tough. I mean, anybody in the restaurant business is going to tell you, and that's the thing about the restaurant business during COVID is when the governor would come on and shut us down, then we had too much food in the freezers that we had to, figure out what to do with. And when she decided to open us up, we'd have to order all this food. And so it was kind of tricky. And that's one of the things that we had to learn how to control is waste and excess stuff. But we're managing. We never had to fully 100% close down, but we did slow down quite a bit.
Yeah, I saw on your Facebook page your cool little new patio signs, like something like the best patio in town kind of thing, park here.
Lovington's not a huge place, but yeah, we're gonna claim that.
I did put that too. So again, links to Drylands Brewing Company also in the chat. And as well, I attached that PowerPoint presentation. It seemed like it was getting more distraction, me trying to share that. But I have on slides, there are some pictures of Drylands Brewing on there, as well as the links.
Check it out.
Can check out and follow him there too. So awesome, thank you. Okay, but what else? Oh, first, is there anything you could use help with from either locally or community or New Mexico Main Street?
What was that question again? I didn't.
What could you use help with?
Right now, I think, Mata's doing a good job of helping us out with whatever we need. So
Okay.
shout out to Mata. Although she's a pain in the butt sometimes, we love her.
I just want to say I did not pay him to say any of these things, all right?
I think you probably earned it. Okay, awesome. Are you able to hang on, Andres, in case people have questions?
I have to go. I'm a chiropractor, actually, so I've got to go adjust a few people.
Go help people in that way. I totally get it. I value mine. So
It was a pleasure, seeing you, finally putting a face to voice.
you as well. Thank you so much for being on here, for sharing your story. And I'm sure any of us will be visiting, will be popping in when we're in Lovington or Hobbs.
Definitely. First round's on me.
Oh, okay, definitely. I'll see you then.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay, next up, so we have heard I've abandoned the PowerPoint presentation. It was a little too distracting there, but I've attached it in the chat so you can just download the file from there. And now I'm very, very excited to welcome Kayla from the Firehouse Workspace. So it's funny because Lisa Pellegrino Spear, of course, our lovely Clovis Main Street leader, everyone's favorite. I first was introduced to Kayla through working with Lisa and her amazing board member, Scott. They launched Kick-Ass Entrepreneurs of Clovis. And so they started their entrepreneur storytime events. So I got to learn about Kayla and this new co-working space she was opening up. And she was their first storyteller, and I became a huge fan. And that's why I asked Kayla to join us here. So yay, Kayla, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm wonderful, thanks.
Can you hear me okay?
Beautifully.
Okay.
Beautifully.
You ready for me to start?
I am.
Okay.
I'll just throw out a couple of little crumbs,
Okay.
because I know that you did, you had bought the space, which signed, everything was a done deal May 2020.
So I look back and I lied to you because I think the pandemic warped my sense of time. So I actually closed on the building at the end of February 2020, 2 weeks before the shutdown.
Okay. And so you took this space, Firehouse Workspace, and it's you pretty much completely renovated this building. You were supposed to open last month. I know you hit a couple of little snags and delays, but you are open right now, aren't you?
Yes, we opened March 1st. Finally.
Congratulations. Okay, tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay, so my name is Kayla Adair. I own Firehouse Workspace in Clovis. And so I was looking back to see when this all started. July 19th was the first time I came to look at this building. A local photographer had posted on Facebook that she was looking for a warehouse style photography studio. And that got me thinking. I called another friend who's a realtor, and the three of us came to look at this building. And after that, I started thinking about how many people needed a place to work, that maybe didn't want a full-time office, needed a meeting space, photography studio, obviously. And so in September 2019, I started my business plan. By February, I closed on the building. And by the first week of March, I had picked my contractor, started branding, and I was looking forward to opening in September of 2020. And then the second week of March happened and everything shut down. So that really threw a wrench in things. It slowed us way down, mostly because at first we didn't know what we were allowed to do or not do. So finally, we would just renovate in little bursts of action because everything we had to order took way longer than we anticipated, like the windows and doors they usually take a week to 10 days, I think, and they took about 6 weeks. So I kept giving out opening dates and moving them back, opening date and moving it back. So we finally opened 2 weeks ago, almost. But on the other hand, there's definitely a silver lining for me. I think that the co-working trend is just going to continue to grow. Now that we had COVID, people found out that their employees can work remote, and people are ready to get out of their houses. And so I think in the long run, it was really kind of a blessing in disguise.
And you partnered with Blackwater. So was Blackwater Coffee there, or they're renting some of the space?
So when you walk in the front door of my building, that will be the second location of Blackwater. And then there's 2 double doors. You walk into those doors and you're in the co-working space. And I should probably explain what a co-working space is a little bit. So I always tell people it's like a gym membership for working. So we have 4 private offices, and then we have 8 dedicated desks. And that means they belong to one person all the time. And then we have 12 hot seats, and those function just like the seats at your favorite local coffee shop. You just walk in and you take a spot wherever one is available. And then we also have a kitchen, a conference room, a podcast studio, and it functions as a small meeting room, and the photo studio, of course. So yeah, so we just finalized the bid for Blackwater. So that's the next phase of the project.
That's excellent. And I mean, you really have done a service in renovating this building. I know you're really very much into the history of the building, so maybe talk a little bit about that. But also, I love how you're using the space. I was looking at your social media profile as well, and allowing other artists to showcase their work. And a lot of the work there is also for sale.
Yes. Yeah. So we have about 5 or 6 local artists right now. It will be it's like a pop-up gallery, sort of. It'll be a rotating display of art. I'm super passionate about the community in Clovis and about hospitality, and I just love bringing together any elements that I can. So my building was actually the first firehouse in City Hall in Clovis. The south side had 2 rooms that were the original City Hall, and then the north side was the firehouse, and then the firemen's sleeping quarters were upstairs. So in 1908-09, when this was built, a fire truck was a wagon with horses and a hose reel in the back. And so the building originally had 2 sets of stable doors. And it was built right after we had a rash of, the reason they built a firehouse is because we had a rash of fires in Clovis. The Santa Fe New Mexican actually had a regular blurb called "Clovis has its weekly fire." So when they built this building, they built it a double brick construction, which means that if you take out an exterior brick, you'll find another set of bricks behind it. So there's no wood in the exterior framing of the building. In the 30s or 40s, there was an addition to the south side, and I don't really know a lot about it. I think it was originally a Buick dealership, and people tell me it was Montgomery Ward Tire Store at one point. So I haven't done anything with the upstairs yet. That's gonna happen at the same time as Blackwater. So we'll have 3 luxury Airbnb suites up there, and that will be City Hall Guest House.
And I love this too. What I had learned about you was that you are a serial entrepreneur. So you've had other businesses with your husband, but you have no co-working experience at all. And yet you're making this space that your community is super thrilled about. Again, I've been on your website and I loved it. The way the services that you're offering and the way that you're presenting them is also just a fantastic example. And of course, what you've done with this building for your Main Street community as well. And I'm a huge fan.
Well, thank you. I didn't know what co-working was when I started all this. So it's been a big education for me, and I'm having to educate my community too, because a lot of people in Clovis still don't know what it is.
Excellent. I also love, if anyone ever wants to see any good examples of how to share your story on social media, Kayla, we spoke about this before, so she's outsourced it to someone else, but they do a really good job of like showing examples of in progress, where she was at when they were, desks still needed to be put together, or here's what the building looks like now, and here's what's going to go in this room, and just helping you, taking you along on the story as the building was being put together so the community could be a part of it. Excellent.
Sarah's fantastic. I know my weaknesses, and social media is not where I should be.
Is there anything you could use help with now?
No, I was meeting with Lisa yesterday, and she's going to help me with a couple things around my building. I want to do a community paint project on my back wall outside where people have been tagging it. And so a few little things like that I'm looking forward to getting the community even more involved. But I think that's about it. We're just trying to create some momentum here and get people in the space.
Excellent. Well, I'm really looking forward to. I personally can't wait to go visit Clovis for reasons you understand. And so
Anytime.
Right, I know. I can't wait to see the space. And so are you able to hang out a little bit for question? We end at 12:15. So I'm just thinking we've got one more storyteller up, and then we can open it up and if anyone else has questions.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Okay. John?
Thank you.
Thanks, Kayla. John, are you here? Is he gonna, am I gonna get stood up for the first story time?
I think I just have to unmute myself.
Oh,
there you go. That helps.
Okay, so I'm pasting John's information here, and I'm gonna let you pronounce your business, John, so I don't.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is John Katrinak. I'm the chef owner of Subak Soul Bowl. We're a Korean fusion restaurant located in historic Nob Hill in Albuquerque. We opened in June of 2019. So kind of background story of like last year and all that stuff. We started as a food truck. So we had the food truck in Albuquerque, did a couple community events called Tasty Tuesday, which is a local park event with 5 different trucks, had free music, yoga, did all the brewery scene. And then it was kind of like time to upgrade into an actual location. So February of 2020, we actually had our best month, highest grossing month. And then, pandemic hits. So we did close for, I think, 2 days, just to kind of reassess how we were going to go forward with it. We kind of just reverted back to like our food truck day. So it basically became a bigger food truck, still put out the same food, things like that. The biggest thing for me was just actually communicating with my staff. We asked them if they still wanted to work, if they still wanted to like come to work, given what was going on and the fact that they could file for unemployment and things like that. And all of them really wanted to be here. So I'm very grateful for them. So we just kept on plugging along and just did that whole thing. As far as like getting funds and things like that, I was just applying to every grants from the city. Bernalillo County also had a grant as well as a state grant. So just applying for all of those, going for those disaster relief loans from the SBA. We actually just applied for the newest PPP loan too. So just trying to get, anything to help keep us afloat. Kind of the struggles, a little bit of the struggles that we came from, less clientele, less people wanting to come in and order and things like that. So we actually lucked out. If there's any restaurant owners, brewery owners out there, we partnered with selflane.com. It's a local organization. We did deliveries with them in the end of January, but those really kind of like picked up. So it's online ordering. The great thing about them, unlike Grubhub or Uber Eats or anything that like those other businesses, they actually charge us 0 commission. So we actually get to keep all the profits. They have their own POS system and credit card processing that I think that's how they make their money. But they've expanded all across New Mexico, Santa Fe, Albuquerque. I think even they're trying to go into Arizona, and they actually just opened one in their POS system in Portland, Oregon at like a faux shop.
Okay, I actually, so this was one of the questions I
Sure.
had for you, because it was like, okay, this South Lane, had you been using it before? Is this new? Because it piqued my interest. I'm gonna pop it into the chat box for people, the link, in
Sure.
case they want to check it out. So seriously, it's developed somehow here in New Mexico. They're not.
Yeah, it's developed by Kevin Zhao and Charlie Liu. They're great guys. They're really responsive. You know, I think in Albuquerque, there's like over 200 restaurants now on their platform. So they're growing and growing, and it's, you know, the integration is pretty easy and customizable for restaurants and breweries. You can add your own photos, you know, set up whatever, you know, description of the restaurant you want. So like ours is Korean and Asian fusion. So yeah, they're a great partner.
That's excellent. Okay, is it that you know of? Because I mean, of course, your concern is the food industry. Is it only
Sure.
food, restaurant, breweries type food industry?
Restaurant breweries, yeah, for now they have like we have a couple food halls that just opened in Albuquerque. So 505 Food Hall is on there, Green Jeans Farmery and Tin Can Alley as well. So those are kind of like brewery based as like kind of the central aspect of it. And then they have like little pop-up restaurants like within those food halls as well.
You know, I was loving, so anyone that goes to his to John's website or social media pages, I mean, it just made me hungry. And I'm sorry, because this is about lunchtime, so most of you people
Right.
are really hungry, and this is not going to help at all. So it's a good thing probably that the PowerPoint I put together, we're going to skip on that, because it's just pictures of this delicious food. This is just only going to make your mouth water more. So you can look at that PowerPoint later. So John, like, actually, I had noticed it as well. So the space, that your location in Nob Hill, and thank you also, Valerie, for connecting me with John there. I really appreciate that. So the space was an old Route 66 automobile shop. Did you totally renovate? Was it something else in between?
Yeah, we totally renovated it. So we actually, it's owned by the Emmanuel Presbyterian Church, which is kind of the iconic church in Nob Hill. So it has like the bell tower right on Carlisle and Central. So we actually used to park the food truck inside the garage. So it was like, this is awful sky blue color inside garage. So we totally converted it. Took the architect 7 months to get plans together and another 5 months to actually make it happen. But the great thing is, you know, we applied and got the city's patio outdoor dining grant. So we were able to put a temporary patio out and lift up the garage doors during the summertime, so you can kind of get that whole nice feel and, you know, keep everyone safe with the outdoor dining as well.
Yeah, you look like you have an amazing outdoor patio area there. Like, was it always taking up as much of or not taking up as much, but was it always going out into the parking lot there? Was that new for?
Yeah, so we actually never had a patio before. So we just opened the patio, I want to say in like late August, early September. So we were just doing takeout, just with living in the community that we live in. There are houses around us. So for our beer and wine license, we had to kind of keep everything inside the building. So now we're actually trying to make the patio permanent and partnering with the city and our neighbors to make sure that can happen.
Oh, excellent. Okay. And you're doing takeout, delivery, patio, and any indoor, or just keeping it patio?
So right now the patio is closed. So with the reset, we actually closed down the patio. That was the beginning of December. So we're opening it, planning on in 2 weeks on the 24th, I believe, which is a Wednesday. If I have my dates right. You know, it's just, again, it's for my staff safety and our, you know, what we feel is comfortable. Our food, like, really good thing about Asian food, it translates well to takeout and reheating and things like that. And so we're just kind of waiting for a little bit warmer weather. I think we're probably gonna get one more kind of like winter storm that usually comes in New Mexico, you know, central and northern New Mexico. And then, you know, patio open, summertime, springtime, you know, we only have to deal with the winds and the umbrellas. So.
Well, excellent. Is there anything else you still feel like you could use a little help with or a connection to?
Sure. I think like there's probably just two things that we're kind of like focusing on right now. The first thing is the permanent patio. So right now we're in the city's phase of getting approved before it gets passed on to the state. So any positive comments can be forwarded to Donna at cabq.gov. She's the local city council hearing officer. And any positive comments would be great. The second thing is we were just nominated as a finalist as best restaurant in Albuquerque for Edible New Mexico. So go check out that, Edible New Mexico's website link, vote for us. But, we're honored to be on a list of 9 other amazing restaurants in Albuquerque and amazing bakers and artisans and beverage makers as well throughout the state. So they have, northern New Mexico, central and southern New Mexico. So again, it's just a really great honor to be on that list. And yeah, we would appreciate the vote. If not, we'll still be here. So anytime you're in Albuquerque, we're 1 block east of Carlisle and just south of Central. So we're right in Phil Main Street, and we would love to have you on the patio.
Excellent. Okay. I when I Googled you, I have to say, it came up with your food has received quite a number of kudos out there and articles written. And I was wondering, do you still have the food truck?
Yeah, so the food truck's still going. So we were kind of waiting to see Tasty Tuesday, which was our community event last year, and was kind of we just basically stripped it down. And there was, instead of 4 trucks, there was 2 trucks that went. And since we had the restaurant space, we kind of let the other trucks, do that event. So waiting for that to reopen. Also, like the breweries. So just kind of waiting for everything to get more up to more capacity. So that kind of, we're still in yellow in Bernalillo, so that green turquoise level that a lot of the new counties had hit turquoise level. So we're kind of just waiting for that and getting that as well. And at the same time, doing our kimchi business. So that's kind of one thing that happened in the pandemic. We couldn't sell beer, so we just filled the kegerator with kimchis, different types of kimchis, and started selling those in jars. So
another little offshoot. Any other silver linings out of the pandemic or positives?
For us, it was just, relying on each other as a staff and as a team and getting to grow together. And, the pandemic fatigue that everyone feels. And, when you're creating the same thing over and over again, it kind of gets a little mundane. So we added some specials. So we have a special taco every Taco Tuesday for $2. And then on the weekends, we have like a weekend special. So if you're in Albuquerque this weekend, we're doing a bulgogi burger with a kimchi aioli, sharp cheddar cheese, and then a pepper bacon with some fries and a house-made gochujang ketchup as well. So
close to lunch.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing though. Hopefully anyone in the Albuquerque area, go check that out this weekend, or definitely check. I know when I head down there, I've been very, very much stuck in here in Santa Fe.
Sure.
But when I start to venture out, for sure, I'd be so
Awesome.
excited. I can't wait to visit. So excellent. We're going to open it up to questions for everyone now. And so you can actually just start to speak also, or raise your hand or put it in the chat. I'll start out just because I see this one already in the chat. Warren is asking Kayla if you use any software service to manage your memberships.
Yes, I have a really cool platform called Proximity. So it handles all of my meeting room bookings, photo studio booking, and all of my memberships. And it also has keys. So when people come into my space, they press their key on the app. It unlocks the door for them. All of my payments go through there. So yeah, it's made this 1,000 times easier.
Can you say that again? I'm so sorry. The wind's kicking up here. The name of the app?
Oh, Proximity. It's called Proximity. They're based out of Colorado, and they started this platform because they have a co-working space and they saw the need.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Anyone
I
else?
have a quick question regarding the booking reservation. Is it called proximity.space?
That's
Cool.
it.
I'm going to post it right now.
Thanks, Rhea.
You're welcome.
questions, comments? Hi, Lisa, I can see you now. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Nothing?
I have a question for John with regards to what we had learned in the previous sessions about social distancing. How did you incorporate some social distancing practices into serving people and customers and to-go orders? And
Sure. Probably, we do also partner with Grubhub. They actually sent us kind of a social distancing, spots on the floors and things like that. So we were able to do that. I have a wonderful graphic designer, Vanessa Bowen from Bowen Creative here in Albuquerque. She made all these wonderful signs for us, mask up, for your safety of yourself and the community, and really just putting it out as far as like a community thing. Same time, we also did curbside. So with Self-Lane, you can add comments, or when you call the restaurant, you can, we'll bring that out to you. You can prepay for it. And, luckily for me, I have an aunt who's a seamstress. So she actually made me and my staff 50 masks and then sent them from DC, like Northern Virginia, over to us. So, easier kind of things for us for like the patio. We put like permanent chalk spray paint marks on where the tables will go, just to create that distance and to make sure that everyone feels safe around the space.
great.
Okay, actually, I have a question for Kyle. As far as, so when do you have any idea, or is it more just like trying to look in your crystal ball as to when you might be able to hire some of your employees back? Or
Yeah, it's so hard to know because the wholesale side of the business, that's where I really needed the staff support for production, packaging, shipping. So many stores that we work with closed this past year or are slow to reopen, just like us. And so, until the demand from wholesale orders picks up, I really don't have, there's not more labor than I can handle on my own. So I'm just kind of playing it by ear as things start to reopen, stores start ordering again, feeling confident in being able to stock their shelves. That's going to trickle down to, how much demand there is for production here. So in the meantime, I've got my store open just 2 days a week, so I can focus the other days on production and getting orders out. And I'm just kind of rolling with that as long as it makes sense. One of those silver linings that I think we've all found in bizarre ways is there's something that I enjoy about not being a manager. I started this business as an artist and because I like to make things. And while I've loved to see the business grow and support other people in their livelihoods, and I built a really wonderful team of people I miss dearly. From a personal standpoint, just working on my own fits my personality a lot more, and so I feel like there's an interesting burden that has been lifted that I wasn't really aware had been in place. So, I feel like if things don't really pick back up and it just kind of, the business just keeps coasting at the level it's currently at, I'm comfortable with that. And if it starts to get busier and I can rehire even one person, that'll feel good too. Someone's coming into the store now, so I have to go. Thank you guys so much for having me, though.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Can I say a few words real quick?
Lisa, of course.
Awesome, thank you. I just want to say that Kayla has been such an inspiration for our downtown. She's taken this historic property that both of us had this great passion for, and a few other people in our community, and nobody really could see the long-term outcome of this building, and she's turned it into this amazing progressive piece for our community and thinking outside the box. So Clovis is a small community, and thinking of a co-working space, you know, it's one of those things that you're like, can this work in a rural community? But like Kayla could probably even pan around, and I'm sure you'll find one of my board members, Scott Knauer, is there all the time now. That's where he's working out of. And it's a great space. There's a lot of flexibility with it, with having the podcast studio. She has a telephone booth, which is super adorable. I love that. And multiple different size conference rooms and photography studios, and just really outside the box, you know, small business creativity. And I love it. And you're my revitalization rock star. So I adore you, Kayla. But I also have to brag on Melanie, because we were able to be the first pilot project for the Kick-Ass Entrepreneurs. And so Sean helped us get in contact with Melanie and created Kick-Ass Entrepreneurs of Clovis. And it's been so fun. And I think even with it being, you know, all virtual right now, it's been this amazing opportunity to, I think, grow our entrepreneurial spirit here in Clovis, and also to get people like Kayla and some of our other new small businesses that are developing in our downtown right now and throughout Clovis together, and utilize the same resources and find those pieces that our community already has and offers, to put all of those pieces together. And we couldn't have done that without this being Melanie's brainchild, and she's fantastic, and she's taught us so much of her ways. And I just have to give applause to Melanie, because you're amazing.
Okay, now I'm really embarrassed.
Well, the best part about it is we get to drink too when we do our meetings.
Well, just like, of course, I created something. If this wasn't at an 11:15, there'd be drinks involved here. But thank you. So like, also it takes like great communities, just using story is just a fantastic way. And that's why I'm just really grateful to like Lisa and Scott for taking the lead down in Clovis. Great people. It wouldn't happen without great people. And then Kayla for telling her story, and here John too. I just love the power of storytelling to help us to connect, learn more about the business owners. And so we really appreciate you taking the time to share just a little bit more about what you're doing in your communities. And also the executive directors in Silver City, Lovington, of course, little Miss Clovis here, Lisa, and Nob Hill. Just thank you too for connecting us so we could bring these amazing business owners here to share their stories.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. We're going to become a really popular presentation by closing a little bit early so that people can have some lunch.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Melanie, for organizing these small business owners. Thank you, Kyle, Andres, Kayla, John. It was all super interesting. And I know our, it serves as an inspiration for our other main streets out there, and that assistance that they're providing to their small business owners. Before we close it off, Melanie, do you have anything else? Do you want to?
I just want to say thank you.
Any other questions?
To John and Kayla. You're still here.
Still here. Yes.
Well, we're gonna, our lunch starts now once we close this session, a little bit longer than last week. So that's good news. And then we'll all meet back here at 1:30, and Sean has a presentation and an exercise activity that we're all going to do together.